Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to CEVO TV. m3ss and DustMouret here tonight for a Cloud9 doubleheader. And not just a doubleheader for these guys, but their first matches in CEVO Pro in Season 6. And our first look, eventually, at the new roster. Unfortunately, in this first matchup, Cloud9 versus eLevate, the new AD Opper, Shaz, will not be able to play with them. Shazam played in a Week 1-1 matchup earlier already, so he's not eligible to play in that matchup, but he will face off against Torque, so we'll get a full look at the new roster in that matchup, Dust.
Yeah, I believe the real reasoning behind why he can't play tonight's match is because he actually played against this exact same team on this exact same map for another team in CEVO. It's really exactly what it is. So he had already played against eLevate on this map, Cash, whenever he was actually still playing for what is now Liquid. So that was why he was ineligible, was simply because you can't replay the same team twice on two different teams during the same week of play, because technically this is a makeup match from Week 1.
Correct.
So that's the real ruling behind it, is because people were curious, that doesn't make any sense. Obviously, he's been on Cloud9 for a while. We get that, but he did play an official match against eLevate on this map during the actual Week 1 of CEVO whenever he was still playing for Liquid. So that combination of factors is why he's ineligible to play against this same team on the same map that he's already played them on, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously that'd put eLevate at a disadvantage. I mean, Shazam would have the scouting report basically on what he saw from that game, and getting a second crack at him with his new team. But I think the stand-in is going to be Stunna. I checked the roster just a few minutes before we went live, and he had been paid up. He wasn't previously paid up, and we were kind of curious as to who we thought that fifth stand-in might be. I mean, there'd been kind of few names thrown around, but it looks like it will be Stunna, their manager, playing against eLevate. Unless some sort of surprise comes in the next 5 minutes. They are switching servers, so.
Yeah, they had to switch servers because Sean Garrett's ping originally got, so they're switching to a new server. So that's what we're kind of waiting on right now. That's why everything's been delayed so much. But yeah, I mean, I guess they are going to use Stunna. They actually did use him in the past, I think, as a replacement for like CEVO even last season at times, whenever they had players that weren't available to play. So he's filled in the past, but certainly he's mentally pretty competent. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have any game sense or he's like a complete idiot. But he obviously, his fragging ability is not up to par with, say, everyone else on the actual lineup, including Shazam. Otherwise, he would be a player on the lineup, if you see what I'm saying.
Right,
so,
right.
So I mean, his fragging is not up to the same standard as who he's playing alongside, but it's not as if he's like a complete silver or something like that out of matchmaking. I think he's actually like a legendary Eagle Master, Supreme in matchmaking, and I've actually played with him before, and he plays with these guys sometimes for fun, like in matchmaking and like pugs and stuff like that. So my point is like, if you're like betting or whatever, and you think that, oh, they're using a stand-in, so now there's like no chance that they'll win, and now eLevate has a great chance to win. While I do admit that the fact they're using a stand-in does somewhat make, like, I think on CSGO Lounge right now, the odds are like 29% in favor of eLevate, 71% in favor of Cloud9. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're using Stunna as a stand-in probably does bring down their favoritism down a bit. They're probably not a 71% favorite in this game anymore, but I would still say that they're like a 55 to 60% favorite in this game, even with a stand-in. I think that the other people on the team should still be able to perform pretty well. You also take into account this is actually one of Cloud9's best maps, if not their best map, statistically speaking.
Great point.
If you go back to Cologne, which I guess was, like, when was Cologne? Was that back in August? Something like that? I just know, like, if you go back like 5 or 6 months and you look at all the international play, domestic play that Cloud9 has done, all the LAN play that they've done, they have about an 80% win rate on Cash. This includes beating teams like Virtus Pro, who are like historically very good at Cash in Europe. So
Indeed.
this is their best map, statistically speaking. I don't know, like, if you went and asked them what their best map was or what map they thought they were most comfortable on, they may not say it. They better not say Inferno anymore, man. They suck at Inferno. Like they just need
for the
to
longest
kind of
time. It
accept
seems
that.
like I feel like they thought that was their best map.
Maybe
and
against
just the
domestic
results didn't.
opponents. Maybe against domestic opponents, they may feel like Inferno's still a good map for them. But internationally speaking, they're pretty awful at it. At least if you look at their track
results,
record.
right?
I mean, their results are not good. I want to say. I have to look it up, but I think like their Inferno record is something like 20 in the 20s, like percent wise of win rate. I think like yeah.
Come on,
I'm pretty
Thorne,
sure
pull
that's
out those
right.
stats. I know you got them written down
No,
somewhere.
I'm pretty sure it's like 20-something% last I checked because I think they've played it 9 or 10 times since Cologne and they've only won like twice or something like that. So it's pretty bad. But no, so I don't know what they would say if you asked them, but statistically speaking, Cash is actually their best map. So that helps too. As far as kind of making up for the fact that they have a stand and the fact they get to play on a map that they're quite good on statistically, is certainly, it bodes well for them, is my point. And eLevate, historically, is a team that has been very hit or miss on Cash. Like, I still remember, like, their worst ever match result they've ever had in their entire career actually comes on Cash, and they got 16-0'd in a game. That was like a while back though, so it doesn't really like hold too much weight. But
yeah, especially
the point
with some
is,
of the roster changes that have been made.
Oh yeah, and we'll talk about that in a sec as far as roster changes go. But they historically have been hit or miss on the map. Is my point. Like they've never consistently done very well on it. They've either had a match here where they've looked pretty good, or they've also had some matches where they've looked really bad. So. And like you said, they've had roster changes. They just brought in Elige for Warden because Warden kind of stepped down. He's a coach now, from what I understand, for that team.
They got Roka,
and then they brought
well.
in Roka, kind of replacing. Well, I don't know who directly replaced who, but the point is that Volcano stepped down from playing Warden, stepped down from playing. Warden's now a coach, and then they brought in 2 young guys basically. Elige is a very young guy, 17 years old. Doesn't really have any prior Counter-Strike experience up until this point. I know he played on some semi-pro CS:GO teams, if that's what you want to label it.
Yeah, I've seen him
CEVO
a few times in those lower level games, but yeah, nothing at this level before until recently, obviously.
I know he used to be a sub sometimes for what is used to be m3ss. Now we don't know who they are. They just know m3ss released them apparently, but we don't know who their new sponsor is.
NA org shuffle now.
Yeah, exactly. So I know Elige filled in for them a time or two in some different tournaments. I know he's also played CEVO main, ESEAP type stuff. So I mean, it's not as if he's a complete guy walking off the street or something like that. But he's never really been tested at a professional level until he joined this eLevate team just a few weeks ago. So he's definitely just kind of like a young guy that eLevate's kind of gambling on to hopefully develop into a good player. And then you have Roka, who, at the end of Counter-Strike Source actually regarded as being a really good player. I remember the very last ever Counter-Strike Source LAN we had for North America was actually at the Season 12 of ESEA when he played with Frag Machines, and they took second at that event behind Dynamic. And at that event, specifically, he individually looked really, really well. He was kind of like a rising player in that game, in the NA at least. And since transitioning to CSGO, we've only seen some brief stints of professional play from him, but never anything that was really stable. So this is kind of his first maybe real attempt at being on a stable professional team and actually, sticking with it for a long period of time. So yeah, basically eLevate just brought in 2 young guns to go alongside kind of their core of Storm and XP3, and then they brought in Rush last season, so he's been with them a little bit, but he's still even kind of newer. So most of their core is kind of fallen out, is my point, and they're really kind of a new team, even though there's some still old familiar faces on it.
Yeah, we got to see them play, I think, a doubleheader the other night, and they looked quite sharp, especially Elige and Roka. Both of those guys coming up with some big rounds for their team. Crucial round wins as well with some multi-kills. Elige had a clutch, maybe 2. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys do against the retooled Cloud9 lineup. Of course, here, we're not going to get to see Shazam, and you've already pointed out how you feel like Stunna, while not going to hinder them, he's not going to be that punch that they need that Shazam gave them by picking him up. So this will be a match, their first one in CEVO-P, that they're kind of going to have to grind through to win, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. If Stunna was coming in for say m3ss or something like that, not to say that m3ss is a bad player, but the point I'm really trying to get at here is Shazam is their opper. their main opper, and for the longest time, no one on Cloud9 wanted to be the main opper. Like, Sean would do it out of necessity, not because he wanted to. He actually hated being an opper.
We saw m3ss do it. CEVO
yeah, we saw
m3ss
do it. Yeah, exactly, and he's not bad at it. He's actually quite, decent, but even, then with the way they were trying to strategize and find, like, a flow for this team, it's not like they really wanted m3ss to be a main opper either, because they would rather kind of have him being more of like an entry fragger with a rifle or something like that, or are kind of combining with nothing to go into sites and stuff. So they really didn't want him to have to be the dedicated opper either. And even on certain maps, he would kind of concede the op to Sean, who didn't want to op. You get my point. Like, no one wanted to op on this team full
no one
time.
felt comfortable doing it. Yeah.
So Shazam was brought in specifically to solve that problem. Because, I mean, Cloud9 could have easily picked up another rifler had they have wanted to, but no, they decided to make the conscious decision to get someone who actually wanted to play with the op and dedicate to it. And so, I mean, that, even if he's not the best fragger on that team, that puts him in a very important role of the guy who is going to be your opper and will dedicate to it. And now they don't have him for this match, so that is tough. Like the in-game leader is probably the toughest role to use a sub for. Whenever you need a stand-in, because that's the guy that's calling all your shots and stuff, and now he's gone, so that kind of, hurts the flow of the team, chemistry and communication, strategy-wise.
Correct.
But
right.
losing the guy that was your dedicated opper, and then you don't have no one else in your team who really wants to be the dedicated opper, that's probably like one of the other hardest positions to kind of use a fill-in for. So, yeah, I mean...
so some big shoes to fill for Stunna, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be opping, though. I think that it'll probably be like m3ss or something like that.
I'm sure we'll see him in like a support role, and he's been with these guys for quite a while, though. So I'm sure he's stood in some games last season before. I mean, this happens, when you have a tight 5-man lineup and a guy can't make it, and just for whatever reason you either can't play with someone else or you can't reschedule, you have to have a stand-in. And he's been that guy for a long time.
Yeah, and iPower did the same thing with Impulsive a few times in the past, so it's not like unlike teams that have to use stand-ins. I mean, heck, Titan was using Ioric for the longest time as a stand-in, who was like one of their coaches or staff members or whatever.
Yeah, and it's not a bad idea to go with someone who's familiar. Familiar with you guys and how you play and your demeanors.
Yeah, so my point is like, while Stunna will be of no great value to them, I don't think he'll like bring them way down. Like, I think that he isn't going to be the difference between a winner or a loss, unless the game gets like really close or something like that. In which case, yeah, maybe you could say, oh, like
Shazam would have got him over the hump, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But like, if eLevate comes out here like 16 threes them or something crazy like that, then you can't really pin all the blame on them having a stand-in for something like that. But if it's like a close game, like 16-13, 16-12, something like that, then maybe you could say, okay, the stand-in maybe did make a difference there. But that's kind of beyond the point. But what is kind of sad for me, at least as a viewer and a fan, the same with all these other people, is this is the first time we will ever see Cloud9 play since ESEA land. They didn't have to play in any of the Aspen qualifiers because they were a direct invite. They haven't played any of these off-season tournaments from RGN or anything like that. They didn't play in the BenQ Cup ESEA did, so they haven't played in anything since ESEA land. So we have never seen anything that they've got. We don't know what they've changed. We don't know how Shazam fits in. Nothing. Granted, we will get to see that next game, which is awesome.
But it would have been nice to see it twice. Yeah, I mean, get a bigger sample size.
Exactly. So that's kind of tough, just because this is their debut game with their new lineup, and they don't even get to use the whole thing. So it's kind of a sad situation. But either way, like I said, I wouldn't, if I were you, take the stand-in thing as being like this
a guaranteed win.
Yeah, it's not like eLevate's guaranteed gonna win now because Cloud9's using a stand-in. Like, they still have 4 other really capable players, and Stunna, like I said, isn't completely incompetent. So I'm sure he can at least play like a support role and help somehow. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes, though.
And here we go. I think they're gonna knife for sides, correct?
Yeah, that's all matches are gonna be knife for sides now.
Yeah, just surprising they didn't have their knives out. Here we go.
Did someone just... Stunna already got left-clicked.
I think, yeah. I think they already started off in Stunna's ears. He got slashed before the snipe round even began. He's down to 78 HP.
So he got
slashed again! Already the teammates have it out for their manager, Stunna.
Yeah, I think the first one was kind of a joke, but the second one was just a mishap. Like, he kind of just walked into
initial hazing going on, getting back into the flow of things. This is one of the longest knife rounds I've seen in a bit.
Yeah, they're really
especially with no one dying.
Yeah, now
finally, there's the carnage. Sean Garris, m3ss, and Shroud. Shroud goes down. It's a 2-on-2, 2-on-1. Can Sean Garris clutch the knife?
Nope.
It's going to be eLevate and XP3 getting a 3K on that. So obviously eLevate will take CT side and, you know, not a hugely CT sided map, but obviously you want to start on the easier side here.
Yeah, I mean, it is CT sided, there's no question about it, but it's not at the same weight of, say, like a nuke or an overpass. I think it's a bit more balanced than that. I think it's pretty reasonable to be able to get, you know, 5 or so rounds from T side, especially if the teams are like equally skilled or whatever, which I guess you could kind of argue these two teams are equally skilled. I would say Cloud9 a bit better, but the fact they're using a stand-in kind of brings down their overall skill a bit, I guess. So they're probably about even skill-wise. So you'd expect in that situation. It also depends on like team preference too, of course, but 5 rounds or so is pretty reasonable on T side of this game, whereas like Nuke, you would say like 4 rounds is pretty reasonable. So it's like maybe like a round or so better than Nuke when it comes to being able to get rounds on the T side.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how this pistol round pans out. Obviously, that plays an integral role into how many easy rounds you can pick up off those ecos. I always like seeing what Cloud9 does on the pistol rounds, seeing if they decide to get creative with what they want to buy, or if they just go for the brute force method and give themselves some luxury pistols. And it actually looks like they're going with 3 smokes, 3 flashes, and an HE, and a couple of chest armors, 1 on stun, 1 on m3ss. So they've got some options to take mid control off these smokes, where they can work A or B here on the pistol round, and it's actually a 3-1-1 setup. They've stacked B as Storm picks up 1 in mid on Stunna. XP3 also adds to it with that shot on the m3ss. So already the man advantage going to eLevate. But Shroud and Sean Garris combined to even the odds over at B. And look at that peak shot from Shroud onto eLevate, dropping him like a bad habit.
Yeah, Roka coming with the headshot as well, though, so it equals back up to a 2-on-2 here. Nothing doing a bit of damage to Roka, taking him down to 3 HP, but Sean himself is down very low, so it's a very even kind of situation. Both teams with just 2 players. Both teams, you know, have 1 low health, 1 high health player. And it started out kind of bad. Cloud9 just kind of running out mid-naked and getting caught, but, you know, Shroud able to bail him out with a couple of frags inside the site before going down, and now we see this rotation over to A. Bomb gonna get planted here by Sean, and he'll be able to get away as well. So we're just going to have to see what's going to happen here with Storm and Roka if they can actually make this retake happen. Neither has a kit, so they got to work quick.
Yeah, they're going to have to move fast, and they got the intel that won that nade, though, connect by nothing. There's the Kobe. Storm has the information, though. He knows where they're at. Going to have to connect with his shots, but very nice tandem teamwork there. Nothing closing it out with a headshot on the Storm. So after a little shaky start, they do pick up the round.
Yeah, that was just good play there by Cloud9. You know, the bail off would be, you know, they knew that they would at least get a 2 versus 1 over at the other side. In fact, they got in for free and got a plan off of it, and just a good place made by nothing to get that initial frag to get the 2-on-1, and then from there they just, you know, worked a good crossfire in on Stormy, pressing the forklift, and they just kind of kept, you know, their 90-degree angle from each other and kept it difficult for Storm to be able to get both of them. And just a good play from Cloud9. It started out really bad, like, you know, coming out of mid-naked, and I think they actually went down 5 versus 3 in like the first 10 or 15 seconds. But like I said, it was really kind of Shroud who bailed them out by getting a couple of frags of his own in the B site to even it back up at a 3-on-3 and give them kind of a fighting chance back in the round.
Yeah, really nicely done. And an interesting buy here. They're going with the Suns out, guns out. No nades. Just head armor and AKs and Galils across the board. And you're seeing the stack from eLevate over at the A site. It looked like Cloud9 gathered a little bit of that information, and they're moving back towards middle. But you actually got Roka taking some pot shots from Checker at 1 on the outside. I think that's Stunna, just trying to keep him honest. But you look, there's no one in mid by eLevate contesting mid there, Dust.
Yeah, they went for just like an A stack, which is like understandable on a save round to try to gamble on something. But unfortunately for them, that bomb is just going to be splitting into B, and there's only 1 player here, and he's going to get taken down. It's going to be Roka by the headshot of Stunna. So, you know, bomb going to get planted at B for free here. We actually have Shroud lurking over at the B site, and he'll be able to backstab a couple of players here inside the highway and make that 3. And that's going to be huge if he does not concede this AK. That's really what Storm's looking for, just to try to get this gun. He knows he can't win the round, but maybe he can get an AK for next round. But nothing in company will finally actually come and kind of help Shroud out there. So
yeah, nice. The cavalry shows up just in time. It's his buddy Nothing. But that is a huge 3K by Shroud over there on the lurk. Because they were going to save, I think, and he just decides to massacre him before they even have a chance.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal economically because they didn't really have a whole lot. I think there was a couple of people that had 5.7s, but I don't even think anybody armored there. And even here, you're not going to see a big investment. Sometimes you'll see people go huge and like try to get armor, scout, CZ, something like that.
And eLevate used to do that when they had Warden and Volcano. You'd see some crazy second-round buys from them.
Yeah, they just decided to go for like a complete sight stack with no armor and upgraded pistols instead of, playing a default position with like, upgraded pistols and a scout or whatever. So it's a different philosophy on it, just didn't pay out. But here we're just going to see Cloud9 kind of waltz into the A-bomb site. No contest, really. Like I said, no big investment from eLevate. I think they had one guy with the CZ, so it was pretty standard. But in this next gun round, we will definitely kind of see how things are going to go once the guns come out to play.
It looks like eLevate's lost a player, so we'll probably see a pause after this. But yeah, a couple of clean entries with the Galil by m3ss, although he is brought down to 11 HP in the process. Nothing going to close out the round with that headshot on the Storm. And so far, Stunner pulling his weight, picking up some frags here and there for his team. And they're working obviously tight as a unit, and there it is. The map is paused, and it looks like Elige will get back in, and we will see the gun round. Hugely important here in the first half.
Like I said, I mean, just because they're using their manager Stunner, it's not like he's completely incompetent. As I was saying earlier, he still can, pick up from a support role, maybe clean up some kills, or at least help you throw fakes or something by holding rotators at the other side and being kind of a distraction. So they can still use him to do something. While he might not be the best fragger, like I said, he's still somewhat competent. So I mean, he can definitely still help out, and he's not completely awful at fragging. He can aim. He's just maybe not going to win some of those one-on-one duels against someone who might have a little bit better fragging ability. Is really the main thing.
And interesting setup by Cloud9. They're going with the stack, pouring out a Squeaky. Rushes there, but he is immediately traded out, and m3ss is going to swoop around forklift and find one just as the smoke blooms. Nice headshot onto XP3. They've got control of the site, only losing one in the process, although nothing, pretty wounded. They've got a nice shroud of smokes there to hold back the two CTs, and it looks like they are going to go for it. Storm working with a kit.
Yeah, Roka able to get that kill on the Shroud. Now he's going to be working his way into the site. Sean from Squeaky, though, does spot Storm on the balcony, so some good calls there. Roka eventually gets caught at quad, and m3ss will also finish the job with the kill on the Storm at balcony. So, just a good, excellent take there from Cloud9. I rarely ever see people really commit that many numbers to Squeaky Door on an A execution. Typically, you kind of don't want to do that because it's such a tight choke point to come out of, and a lot of people spam it. And if you get stuck in there with a bomb or something, it could cause a lot of trouble. But they were able to make it work with some nice smokes over on highway and CT spawn, and they really just kind of focused down on the guy quad with just kind of a barrage of people rushing out the door, and it worked out for him. So I don't know if that's kind of like a new A take they're working on, but it's definitely something a bit different. Like I said, you rarely see people commit that many numbers on a hit on A, especially on gun rounds. Like I've seen people do it on ecos, but on full gun rounds, it's not that common.
Yeah, it was basically like a waterfall play just coming out of Squeaky, and it looks like they're favoring B this time. At first I thought they were going to go with another rush, but they kind of stopped towards outer as Roka decapitates nothing with that deagle shot, and there's still one at Storm, who's just slow playing it from checker. Going to turn the corner and find m3ss, and he's going to get himself an AK in the process. Nice play by Storm, waiting for the cavalry, but that nade is going to bring him down to half health. Oh, he shoots his teammate a little bit there as Stunner and Sean Garris both go down. They don't even get the plant off, so nice hold by eLevate.
Yeah, I mean, Stun actually made that dangerous, though. He's the one who got the entry kill to Roka on B, and at that point, you would think that Cloud9 actually were going to get the bomb down. They almost did, but Stunna maybe committed to the bomb plan a little bit too early. Should have kind of waited to make sure he caught that other guy his teammate was shooting at that was rushing him from Generator. Just kind of a bit of just a collapse there from Cloud9. They certainly were in the round, but just not quite enough, and you are going to see m3ss being the one to pick up the op. This is pretty understandable. Sean has pretty much wanted to stick away from the op now that they have Shazam, so I'm not shocked that he wouldn't pick it up temporarily. He just wants to, play his normal role. But they'll let m3ss kind of be the utility guy with the op. But nothing getting caught by XP3 at the boost spot. So already Cloud9 suffering an early casualty here in this round.
Yeah, forced on the back foot to begin, as it looks like they're setting up for a split A. But Shroud, he's already brought down to 7 HP over there in Squeaky. He's setting up to chuck a nade as Rush is going to put in this same position he was in earlier, where he stopped that Squeaky or tried to stop that Squeaky rush, only getting one in the process there. There's nothing already off the board against Shroud. Extremely wounded. His bomb is staged up over in A main. They're waiting to make a play here, but Elige and Rush just don't want to peek. They're playing so passive here at the A site, Dust.
And they have no reason to peek. I mean, they're just kind of waiting things out here, as we are going to start seeing a little bit of movement here from Cloud9. They're kind of edging their way out of A main, trying to look for some type of peek, but so far not finding anything. They get that smoke up on XP3, and now you start seeing them hesitating quite a lot, actually. c$EVO is going to get in an exchange here with XP3, and he's going to lose that one. Meanwhile, eLevate is still pinning down this door, and Cloud9's having a hard time making their way out of the site right now. Rush going to catch Shroud from the quad boxes, and Stunna is now going to try to save the day with the help of Sean Garrett. And Sean going big right through with those 2 kills. He'll get in the site, he'll get the plant, and you have yourself a 2-on-2 now.
Very nice play by Sean Garrett, although it came at a price as his teammates did go down, but they get the plant in. 2 fully healthed CTs on the retake. It's going to be Storm and Roka. But already the smoke out, and take a look, Stunna and Sean Garrett both wounded, and this nade, oh, if it lands on the right spot, it does! It drops Sean Garrett, brings it to a 2-on-1, and let's see if Stunna can make something happen here. He's going to go down to Roka. Nice attempt. They did get the plant off while they were down, but unfortunately didn't have the health to hold off that retake.
Yeah, Stunna and Sean Garrett both kind of ate a good bit of spam through the smoke. Was kind of lucky against Sean, and then eventually the nade finished him off. But Stunna just kind of stepping out a bit too much from quad. Kind of got caught by the guy playing the edge of the smoke, and kind of just gave up that 1 versus 2. But that wasn't necessarily his fault. I mean, you know, Cloud9 just kind of was always a step behind that round. You know, they were always a man down pretty much throughout the whole round until it came down to that 2 versus 2. And they just couldn't come up with it. Sometimes close round situations can go like that. So we'll just have to see if they can recover. They're going to go on a full AK buy this round, and once again, they're really favoring this A side on their gun rounds. Like I said, they're putting multiple numbers in the squeaky door, not just one player like you see iBuyPower do a lot, or the former iBuyPower used to just kind of stick swag in there by himself.
Oh, Shroud! That spam through the
that
squeaky.
Helps.
Goodness gracious. Rush did not even see that coming. He didn't have a chance to react to that. As Nothing's going to try a wallbang chance there, and looks like he did a little bit of damage to Liege on forklift. But they've got plenty of mollies to work with, so this is a great site to go at A. If they could drop one at quad, maybe forklift, and set them ablaze before they rush in. Have themselves a barbecue.
You hit your nail on the head there. That's exactly what you want to do at Molotovs at the A side, is kind of flush out that corner and quad area and just kind of make that guy push out so you can get the kill. And Sean actually catching rotates over here at the vents, and Shroud entering into the site able to get a kill as well. So it's all up to Storm right now in a 1 versus 4. And you know, he probably doesn't want any part of this. There's not really much for him to work with here to try to get this round. And it's going to be hard for him to save, though, too, because they already have a lurker on the other side of the map. And then, you know, these guys are going to go frag hunting. So Storm not in a good spot here.
Well, Storm's going to get one. It's going to be Stunna before c$EVO does find the headshot. But Stunna actually, I believe, was the first man out the door who got the entry. Of course, his teammates did follow suit, and that was just a convincing take after the initial surprise frag on Rush through Squeaky.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Cloud9's really been favoring this A side of the map, and they've also been favoring putting, you know, heavier numbers at the squeaky door area as compared to some teams who usually only kind of dedicate one guy to that spot just to kind of, like I said, I think the most infamous one will be Swag and how he plays roles on his team, being kind of that solo squeaky player on T side. But, you know, there's been multiple rounds where they've committed 2 or 3 guys to that area, so that they seem to like to attack the A site with a little bit of a heavier presence from that hallway. And so that is a little bit of a change in play. But this round, they're really spread out. They're just kind of playing default. They realize it's kind of either like a save or broken buy out of eLevate. It will be a broken buy with a couple of FAMASas and a Deagle. Sean Garrett actually does have the op this time around. He will get that entry on the Roka, and Nothing does catch that counter flank boost. Yeah, great play there from him to catch that. Shroud taking down Rush, and here they're just getting kills all across the map. Just, you know, really dominant here. Not much for eLevate to really work with.
Yeah, nice passive play, and I was going to... Ooh, here's XP3, tries to get him on the lurk, but Stunna with the 180 headshot just embarrassed XP3 there. Ooh-wee.
That was actually a really good shot. Unfortunately, he held the mouse one down a little bit too long after his kill on XP3 and caught Nothing as well. But not that big of a deal. He'll just drop the AK.
We'll call it a wash, right? You got a nice 180 kill, then TK'd.
Yeah. Yeah, he's actually playing really well. It's looking really good here from C9. They already have a good number of rounds from the T side for this map. Anything else is just kind of extra, basically kind of bonus. But I mean, Sean once again delivering these op picks to entry sites, or excuse me, mid this time around. But he's definitely been on top of the entries. But it is kind of a save here for eLevate.
Rush trying to do damage with the Deagle, decapitates 2 of them, looking for a third. It's gonna be Sean who's got his CZ out. And he actually finds Rush from distance, looking for a second, as Stunna picks up a frag onto XP3 over at the A site, gives him the man advantage, and here comes the swift rotate. through CT spawn. Roka's already at truck, but the bomb is still in T-spawn. So despite the fact that they took control of A, they weren't in any kind of position to get the plant off, as Shroud will bring it to a 3-on-1.
Yeah, and he'll go ahead and finish it with that last kill on the Roka as well. And that was a save round at eLevate, though. So that's kind of expected as they're now working their way up into a 3-round loss bonus. And they now have just enough to get a full buy in here. But they're going to get bought down pretty low. So if they were to lose this round, I mean, they would be max next round. But it would still only be like, you know, $35 or so $100. So there would be another broken buy or a save coming out of them if they were to lose this round. And that's already, you know, that's going to allow like a quick 9 rounds for C9. So this is a really important round economically for eLevate to win, as they're scraping the bottom of the barrel to get something going here in this round.
Absolutely. And Rush staying true to his name. He actually comes through the smoke while Flash finds Stunna to get a little bit of damage off, but only gets him down to 4 HP before ultimately succumbing to that frag. So here comes the rotate back over to A, but take a look, Dust. The bomb is rotating back to mid, and they're flood down to the B site.
Yeah, but they've been so heavy on A pretty much the entire match long, and so eLevate's kind of biting on this, thinking that this is going to be the execution, but it is, like you said, floating over to the B bomb site. There is still one person in checkers. I believe that's going to be Storm, so he's going to have an opportunity here, but he doesn't hear anything yet, so he's still not peeking, but oh, if he peeks now, he could just absolutely crush this team. No one's paying attention. Storm could definitely go huge here. He's starting to hear some grenades. He's kind of waiting it out, and he's could be, like I said, just a crucial factor here, but oh, I think he just... Oh my goodness, Storm really messes that up. Still able to recover and get 1 frag out of that, but he could have done so much more with a bit more patience. But as it stands, he's going to get another one, so he's still doing all right even after a little bit of a mishap early on.
Yeah, he did a little bit of work, but he had a chance at the honeypot, just a little bit of off timing and couldn't quite control his spray. But they did get into the site and get the bomb planted. Shroud hits 2 headshots in a row to defend the plant, brings it to a 2-on-1. XP3 in desperation mode from heaven. He's got 2 angles to work, and he gets one on to Semphis, coming out guns blazing with the pistol. Shroud's just going to try to kite the bomb, but XB3 takes him out. No kit, though. Doesn't have the time. Nicely played by Shroud to kite it there for the last few seconds. Just not enough on the clock for XP3 to close that round.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's a good initial fate there by Cloud. And like I said, they've been putting pressure on the A side of the map pretty much the whole game. And so eLevate, I guess, felt the need, like they really had to kind of, you know, put a rotation there to try to defend it off. And it was a good read from Cloud9 to go ahead and backtrack the bomb B. Even though I think Storm had a great opportunity to still kind of shut him down in checkers. I mean, no one was really paying attention to that area. And, I mean, he kind of shot at someone after they already passed by and didn't really have a chance to kill him, but he tried to force the shot anyway and missed and gave up his position. He still wound up with 2 frags, but he could have really done so much more from that spot if he would have been a bit more patient. But as it stands, like I was saying, eLevate's economy was kind of in shambles, and losing that round causes another save, which means Cloud9 probably coasting to 9. Unless XP3 can make something happen with this M4, and it looks like he is, actually. Short-lived, though.
The touchdown nade, though, connects. That's very nicely done, but looks like it will be all for naught, as the initial frags for XP3 ultimately ended in a 2-on-1 in favor of Cloud9, and Rush has nothing but a CZ and a dream. He's certainly going for it. Comes storming out of Toxic. A little bit flash, and nothing connects with the AK. So Cloud9 is on cruise control right now on T side.
Yeah, I mean, they've really pretty much just decimated this whole half. I mean, they won the pistol. They got that 3-0 start. They won the opening gun round, which forces a save out of eLevate. Kind of a broken by out of eLevate. eLevate actually did win, you know, rounds 5 and 6, but since then it's been another 5-round winning streak from C9. So, yeah, like I said, they've been able to put pressure on A and execute there pretty well. They've been able to use the fact that they can abuse that A site to actually fall back and do fakes towards B. They've gotten a lot of entries even at B early around with like Sean and even Stunna like leading picks into there. So everything's really working for C9, whereas it seems like nothing's panning out for eLevate. And they've tried a number of different things. They've tried stacking A. They've tried stacking heavy numbers mid. They've done all kinds of stuff, but nothing with the circus shot there on the rush through the smoke. And that's once again kind of like Cloud9's always getting these early picks for the most part.
Lee's just trying to answer, though. He does find 2 in Squeaky as Storm gets another one at Sean Guerra's. Lee's doing work with that M4. It gets himself a 3rd frag. It's down to just Stunna. He's got the bomb, and he's already retreated back into the entrance to A main. It looks like he was trying to draw them out of the site, but Stunna, they haven't gone anywhere, buddy. They're all still in there. He's walking. Well, actually, now they finally started to rotate. He was about to walk into a bee's nest, but delayed just enough. But they'll come rushing back after that frag.
Yeah, but he's got no health to play with at this point, so it's going to be really tough. But he's going to try to work his way in here and see if he can find something else. He spot Storm at the balcony, but not able to do anything there. And that was just a big individual effort there from eLevate. You know, Cloud9's been getting these early picks almost every single round. They've been able to execute A quickly. They've been able to pretty much manipulate the map as much as they want, however they want. But in that one particular round, eLevate did step up. And he's been rather quiet the entire game up until that point. If it wasn't for that 3K just now, he'd be 1-11. So he's had a rough game. But in that particular round, he came up big with a nice hat trick inside the A site to finally put something on the board for eLevate. And they really need to win out, in all honesty, to even have a chance going forward.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. As Cloud9 opted for that fast boost rush into mid, which was actually uncontested the last time they did it, but this time they're running into some bullets, and it's going to be eLevate and Storm both picking up frags. eLevate looking for a second, continuing his performance from the previous round. And nothing, just hiding Batman in the smoke. eLevate doesn't know he's up there, but finds him just as he comes out of the bloom, and that's another 3K for eLevate, back-to-back.
Yeah, like I said, he's been rather quiet this game all along. Like, he only had one frag up until that 3K from the last round, then another 3K that round to get him up to 7. He's actually now on par with the rest of his team in just a matter of 2 rounds after, 13 played. So that's exactly what eLevate kind of needed, though. They needed someone to kind of step up and make some good takes, good holds, because they really weren't able to do anything this whole game. And this, actually does force Cloud9 to save for last. So this is a chance for eLevate to kind of coast into a 5th round. But like I said, they really do need to win kind of that last round, and even really need a pistol in the second half to get back in this game, because, like I said, Cloud9's already done, a fantastic job for T-side cash. All they have to do now is just play like a pretty standard CT, and they should take it, as they are to save this round. XP3 getting the initial kill. Storm stepping out checkers, not going to mess up this time, spraying down 2. Roka with 1 as well, and now it's all up to Stunna. He's going to be able to get 1 kill there. Can he pull off the miracle? He's got the bomb. He hears a Legion in the vents, so he knows the attack is coming. But, the spam.
The spray and pray connects.
Yeah.
It works when you only got 9 HP left.
I guess so, man.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Storm playing that same position in checker he's been doing, and just timed it perfectly with the spray, and got to, I think, basically 2.5 with that one. Very nicely done, as they brought it down to just Stunna, who was wounded, and the rotate cleans it up. So eLevate looking to get that all-important 6th round, which, would make this half not look quite as devastating as it could have been given how it started.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking really bad. At one point, the score was something like 9-2. So the fact they've been able to win the last 3 rounds in a row and actually make this game somewhat manageable is certainly a good accomplishment, but you have to kind of wonder if it was a bit too late. I think they've already given Cloud9 more than enough rounds for them to be satisfied with their T side. So at this point, they just have to. They need to win this round. They need to win pistol. They need to get this game to 9-9 by avoiding ecos and getting a pistol round for themselves. And from there, they can just hopefully grind out some of their own T side gun rounds and stay in this game. But I think Cloud9's pretty comfortable where they're at right now. They had a great half.
Absolutely, it's been great thus far, and we'll see the conclusion, the final minute about to unfold. As the bomb is still staged up in T-spawn, but there's 3 of Cloud9 trying to make their way into the A site. Down goes Shroud. That's eLevate, continuing his, I guess, upward trend, you'd say, given how he started this half with another frag.
Yeah,
as now looks like the bomb is going to rotate over towards A, and they've actually drawn the rotate to mid, but look at this dance in middle.
Yeah, this is kind of awkward, but Sean's actually going to time that perfect and catch eLevate in the back. So unfortunate for eLevate, who was kind of playing that right, but just happened to get caught falling back. And Sean, with the 180 and the help of m3ss, able to get the kill on the rush as well, and things are just looking really bad for eLevate here. So it's going to be Roka who's going to deal a couple of frags to get this back to a 2 versus 2. Bomb has still not been planted yet. There's only 10 seconds left, so Cloud9 needs to go ahead and get that plant. They will, in fact, get it. It's going to be Stunna and nothing going against Roka and Storm. And we'll have to see. Storm right now smoked off at the highway, as Roka's going to be working his way in from CT spawn, and we are going to see him work the edge of this smoke. Nothing, times a reload, but Stunna able to catch the kill anyway, so now it's all up to Storm, and Stunna catches him too, so great play. Stunna making up for a couple of failed clutches earlier in the game by getting a couple of nice frags there to finish that one off. And it's
nice 2-piece, yeah, and it steals away that all-important 6th round that we talked about. Cloud9 getting 10 on T-side. Looking pretty stellar so far in their first CEVO-P half of the season.
Yeah, even with the stand-in, they've been looking sharp. And like I was saying before the game even started, you shouldn't let the fact that C9 is using a stand-in kind of affect how you're going to predict the game to go. I mean, the only way it would have mattered if the game was really close, like a nail biter or something like that, then maybe he's like the one little factor that could have made a difference of a round or two. But as dominant as C9 have been, I mean, he's done his job. He's been playing kind of a support role for the team. He's been able to get frags here or there.
Yeah, 12, 3, and 9 blending in the mix. I mean, you take a look.
Yeah.
You think he's one of their main players.
Yeah, I mean, he's not doing anything too flashy, but he's doing his job, and that's all you can ask for out of a guy who doesn't, play competitively very often. In fact, I think Stun has kind of probably exceeded expectations in this game if you're like a C9 fan, or even the C9 players are probably pretty stoked. And I'm not saying that like Shazam's job is in jeopardy or anything like that. That's certainly not the case, but I mean, definitely a good performance here for their manager to be fragging with the rest of them like this. But to be honest, the whole team has just been dominating eLevate all across the map, so it's not as if Stun has had to be really flashy or anything like that. He's just got to do what he's told and just do it
playing
well.
off of each other very well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
A lot of good chemistry being shown off here from Cloud9. It'll be even more interesting to see that in the next matchup when Shazam will show up. But eLevate, backs against the wall. They got to win this pistol round if they want to make a game of it.
Well, C9's done a good job of keeping Stun out of high-pressure situations. I mean, they haven't, besides that 2v2 at the end and a couple of, like, 1v4s where there was, like, no chance he was going to win anyway, they really haven't put him in a role where he, like, had to make a play for them to win the round. He's been able to be a good support player, and that's all you can ask for. But, yeah, I mean, eLevate, they really need to win this pistol round. I mean, not only that, but they need to win the opening gun round, too, to be able to, tie this game back up pretty quick. If you let Cloud9 jump out 13-5, that's probably a quick GG coming at you. So they really need to work hard here in this pistol. Looks like they're going to fake, or they're going to do an A split, actually. I've seen m3ss run this exact same strat. You pull the guy off mid to A, and then you rush up highway. That's what they're doing, but this C9 flank is huge from mid garage.
And it's coming quickly. But they're going to get control of the site. As actually, Sean Garris does connect onto Rush. The nades will come raining down. Does some serious damage to XP3. Brings him down to 45 HP. As they did get the bomb planted, and they don't have a kit, so they got no time to work with. They're going to have to move quickly. Nothing goes down. Stunner, last man standing up against 4 angry terrorists, and that is a pretty convincing pistol round win for eLevate.
Yeah, just a good A split. You'll see that sometimes. You kind of have like one guy, A main or Hidor, pop off a couple of shots to pull that highway, rotator player off of mid to open up mid completely, basically. And then you just kind of heavy hit that with some big numbers up highway, and you run an A split off that, and you can catch CTs out of position quite a lot using that type of strategy, and it worked out well. Cloud9 actually had a really quick flank, though. They pushed B, to mid garage, and they had a really quick flank, but just wasn't quite enough. They pretty much got mowed down in that post plan situation. So good first step by eLevate. It's exactly what they had to do to stay in the game, and as long as they don't get ecoed and they can get themselves to that 8 to 10 and get that opening gun round even, then they'll actually be quite into the game again.
Yeah, we'll have ourselves a ball game. As you see, pretty bare bones save for Cloud9, going with some luxury pistols. You got Sean Garris rocking the Deagle, as he's going to be forced to back off, already brought down to 23 HP. There's not a whole lot of contesting going on in middle. Stunna doing a little bit of peeking, trying to grab some information, but eLevate playing quite passively this round despite having the gun advantage. And, it's a smart thing. You don't want to get rushed and get easily ecoed because they realize they don't have that margin for error. They don't have many rounds to play with.
Yeah, and they realize that this team very well could have like 5.7s in armor or CZs in armor or something like that, and that is always very dangerous to play against still, because those are some pretty powerful pistols, especially when you have armor. And they don't know that C9 hasn't bought all those guns. They don't realize that there's still like guys on like P2Ks and stuff like that, so they don't really know. You don't want to run to a stack or like you said, get pushed by a CZ or something silly and give up the round. So yeah, they can't afford mistakes, and they're playing real smart. And now they're going to be able to just kind of waltz into the B bomb site here and clear it out. But Stunna and Sean Garris getting a couple of fights to keep it at 3-on-3. And so this is getting actually a little tough for eLevate. And Roka gets caught as well, and that's a Galil that's going to get collected. And this could be kind of a dangerous 1v2 that they actually have to play against.
Yeah, Semphis, like you said, is able to pick up that Galil. He's going to move up into Vince, but Elijah's there. He's got the information. He knows he's there. The nade kind of bypasses him, only gets 10 HP, but ring around the rosy goes Elige, connects with the headshot with the AK. And there you go. They're going to clean up that round, although not without a price. They lose 3 in the process.
Yeah, this actually forces a lot of rebuys out of eLevate, and this is bad because, I mean, if C9 can keep their money in check, once they win their first round, that forces eLevate onto a save right away because of all this rebuying, and a one-loss bonus isn't a whole lot. So if you've bought down to $1,000, $1,500 to rebuy guns, and then you lose a round, that's only $1,400 coming at you if you don't get a bomb plant, and that's a definite save at that point. So good job there from C9 to at least, keep eLevate from building up a bank. That way they can punish them later if they win their opening gun round.
And this time you see eLevate expending some energy to take mid control. A couple of smokes gets them clean entry into mid. And it looks like they're going to try to work up highway for an A split as the bomb is staged up in A main. And there's two CT defenders in the site. Shroud going to peek out with nothing but a P2000 and a dream. And he's going to go down to rush. And it looks like it's just nothing still on the board here at truck as nobody's been dropped for eLevate, so this is an even cleaner round for them. Sorely needed to start to try and bank up for the rounds ahead.
Yeah, definitely. This is like the perfect anecdote to last round. They lost quite a few players and forced a lot of rebuys. Is get through this round without losing really anybody. That way you can save all these AKs. Now they can build up some bank. Now, a round loss would still be kind of tough, but with XP3 having so much money, he could drop rush. So, but now they've been able to avoid that issue where they would have to save if they lost this opening gun round.
And I think, like you said, they've kind of handled their business. They got the 3-0. If they can win this gun round and potentially force Cloud9 on a save again and tie it up, now we've got ourselves a ball game. And they could breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief if they can get to that. But Elige starting it off before being answered by m3ss. Storm actually trades him out as well. So the man advantage does stay in eLevate's court after a quick engagement in mid, Dust.
Yeah, Cloud9 tried to get a little bit aggressive and play some Smash Mouth Counter-Strike up close at the mid garage, and they did not get the better end of that trade. They actually do suffer now a disadvantage because of that 3-on-4, and this is a great opportunity for eLevate to pull out this opening gun round. And like I said, if they were able to do that, then all of a sudden you got C9 saving next round, and you got yourselves a tied game at 10. So this is actually like really, really big for eLevate unless these three guys left from C9 can hold it off. There is one guy here that's going to be key over at that A bomb site, and he's going to have to be kind of the guy to hold this thing off, though Nothing finally has made that rotation. So they got two guys here now, so Shroud and Nothing, they got to come up big to kind of salvage this round after an early bad start.
And they both go down simultaneously. They were just kind of lurking in the smoke, both of them trying to make a move, trying to find some sort of daylight, and they just couldn't. It was nicely played by eLevate to take control of that site and didn't lose anyone in the process, so Sean Garris will be forced to save. And eLevate, I mean, assuming they can handle their business in the subsequent save round that we'll see from Cloud9, we'll have a tie ball game.
Yeah, we will, and that's exactly what you're going to be looking at here. And Sean is going to have a tough time saving this M4 when he's been discovered here. He's been able to get the kill on the XP3, but these other guys know exactly where he is too. But if you can save this M4, that would still make Cloud9 somewhat of a threat in the next round. I mean, they could maybe buy a couple of upgraded pistols and kind of surround that M4 and just kind of keep making plays with it. So it's not as if like they're out of the woods yet, and Sean will catch another as well. So
hangs on to the AK.
Sean. Yeah, and now, like I said, you have the option of Cloud9 buying up some upgraded pistols and kind of playing around this AK that Sean got, and actually still, like I said, posing somewhat of a threat. You see him actually buy up full nades, too, so they're going to be able to put pressure somewhere. Some type of aggressive play, probably.
Yeah, it looks like they just went with P250s for the rest of the team, but yeah, he's got some nades to work with. They're going to go. Where are they sending that AK? Let's see where old Garris is at. It looks like he's going to play over at the B side. Meanwhile, it looks like eLevate taking quick mid control over the boost as they've smoked off Z and Big Box in middle. We saw this play from them earlier. But last time I think they were set up for a split A take. This time they're creeping towards B with the bomb.
Yeah, they are. They have a lot of mid control, though. So this highway player is going to be able to come up here and actually does catch Shroud at the boost spot. Rush catches m3ss. So now they are probably going to bring that bomb over towards A. Unless XP3 gets caught, but no Son of not able to catch the bomb there. Now eLevate's just on a killing spree, so they don't even need to plant the bomb. But, a good attempt there from Cloud9 to try to make something happen. But it is a good sniff from eLevate to figure it out and not allow Cloud9 to punish them. So you will now see that 10-10 scoreline. And from here, we'll just have to see how things go. Now, this is where the game gets interesting. Now that it's so close, we saw Cloud9, have a great T side, and we've seen eLevate struggle on their CT. But now the roles have kind of flipped. eLevate now on their T side has not dropped around yet. They're about to win 5 in a row, and now we have to see if Cloud9 can salvage their CT where eLevate was unable to.
Yeah, I think this next round will be very telling. I mean, at this point, eLevate's won one gun round and now a save. But if they can turn around and win the second one, I mean, I think it's going to bode quite well for them, as they could potentially have Cloud9 on the save again before they do start collecting enough losing bonuses. Sean Garris is just going to massacre, as I'm talking, 3 of them. So that's some serious economic damage there with that AK that he did save from the previous round before ultimately succumbing.
Yeah, luckily for eLevate, they have a couple of guys like near 10K to be able to still like have comfortable buys, but that's an extra $900 there for Sean with those 3 kills, and so that kind of helps their money out quite a bit. He's actually we're gonna see a double op setup coming out of C9. It's actually pretty common on Cash to see kind of one guy with the op over at A, maybe one guy at B with it, or kind of rotating between B and mid. So this will be something new that eLevate has to try to deal with. And Sean getting aggressive in checkers, already getting the opening frag. This is going to kind of make eLevate kind of slow down a bit here because of that.
Yeah, through the smoke, Sean Garris picking up that frag on the pushing eLevate players, trying to come into the B side. We're going to have an engagement over here in checker. Rush coming out on top on this Stunna, quickly traded out by nothing. It's a 2-on-2 over at B, as Roka is still just lurking over in Squeaky at A, trying to keep him from rotating.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he's the lurker on this team. He's a really good fragger, a very aggressive type-natured guy, so I'm not sure why they're using him in this capacity over at Squeaky Door. But
look at this. Lo and behold, the bombs moved to A, yeah.
That is definitely surprising. This is a good read here from eLevate to be able to get this bomb over here.
Yeah, over-rotate by Cloud9 benefits eLevate big time, as despite being down a man and up against 2 ops, they do get the bomb planted at A, and they've fallen back into decent positions to cover it.
Yeah, but XP3 gets caught, so now it's all up the Roka here at Quad. They know exactly where he is, and they're boxing him in with 3 guys, 2 ops, and an M4. Roka just trying to see if he can hold on with all his might here. He does get 1 kill on the nothing, but Sean able to get him with the 250. He'll get the defuse quite easily, and so C9 will get this gun round, like I said, a pivotal one. But eLevate has still a lot of money in the bank. They'll be able to buy this next round, and they'll be able to contest it right back for 11-all.
Okay, so we'll see another gun round, and basically they're tied 1-1 in gun rounds at this point. We saw eLevate get the first one, forcing Cloud9 on the save. Cloud9 obviously picking up that one we just saw, but luckily for eLevate, they can rebuy, so we'll see a third. See who can take the lead here in the gun rounds in the second half. A lot closer than we thought it was going to be, given how that first half went, Dust.
Yeah, I mean, it was really in danger of Cloud9 just kind of walking away with the game, but eLevate able to, win that first 5 rounds in a row. They got the 3-0 off the pistol victory. They were able to win the opening gun round, which forces another save out of C9 for the 5-0, and that was a really good start. But now you're seeing C9, now that eLevate's putting the pressure on there, they're starting to kind of dig deep here and hold their own, as we've had an even exchange of frags so far early in this round. As still not quite sure what eLevate wants to do with this bomb just yet, but there is no real presence at A. It's mostly like kind of focused on highway and B, but quick rotation positions here as the bomb is actually going to be coming out of mid here pretty soon.
Yeah, they got the crisscross smokes in mid as Storm threads the needle over top of the smoke, brings down Shroud, as now they're going to try to split B, as there's only one defender there, and it's going to be Stunna.
You gotta come up big here, as we are gonna see Storm floating around Generator, but Stunna works around the box, catches one at the main area, comes back out, catches another kill, and Stunna has done his job at that B-bomb site, and now Sean coming in with the op.
Absolutely the 2-for-1 trade, but Roka, huge flank.
Oh, man.
Catches Sean Garris and Semphis looking the same direction. A little bit of a miscue there, not checking their 6, and Roka takes full advantage.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ever really expect that big of a flank to come out. I mean, when all the gunfighting's going down on the B-bomb site, at best you think Roka's maybe vents, because that's usually where people are going to go. They hardly ever press in the CT spawn like that. So that's just something you can't really expect, and that was kind of unfortunate for C9. But at the same time, just good mind games from Roka, though, to kind of realize what was going on and realize that he had the chance to do that, and he made it work. So props to him.
Yeah, now you've got eLevate winning their second gun round to make it 2-1 in this half on the gun rounds, and they've got Cloud9 on the save off of it, looking to take the lead. Huge comeback here in the second half by eLevate so far, and they're continuing their passive play early in the rounds, just feeling things out, trying to gather some intel before they make a move, as that's obviously paid off for them thus far this half.
Yeah, they've only conceded 1 round the entire half, so I would say that's a good in my book.
It's a good recipe. Stick with it. Keep making it.
Yeah, definitely. As we are going to see C9, just on a save, like you said, with these 250s, trying to see if they can't make something happen, but it's very unlikely. So you're probably are going to see actually eLevate take the lead for the first time this game. and that's kind of huge for them, to be honest. And here's where the stunner factor does kind of play in now that the game's getting kind of to the wire.
We're seeing a good stack, though, by Cloud9 at A. Perhaps they can deal some damage. His Shroud is able to get one. Sean Garrett steps out and gets another. But unfortunately, the teammates do clean it up. But there's still one more. It's nothing. And he's ultimately eliminated by Storm. So a little bit of expended energy to get in there and get the bomb planted. And it's now a 2-on-1. And curiously enough, you say his name, here he is. It's Stunna.
Well, he was the B player, so you expect him to kind of be the last in this situation. But he doesn't really have a whole lot to work with this 250. But he picks up an AK. He could make something happen, but just edges a little bit too much without peeking the quad. XP3 was actually really low on HP, so if he would have gotten that, he might have actually had a chance at that one-on-one. But unfortunately, just kind of angles himself a little bit poorly to that quad area.
Shoulder, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that was just unfortunate. He actually played it smart by being able to get into the site and pick up that AK. You just kind of happen to step out just like a pixel too much for XP3 to catch him. So that was actually a really nice attempt by Stun on that 1v2. He did everything right. He just got caught by XP3.
Yeah, smart play by XP3 to play the angle and hopefully just tear his arm off when he sees it. Look at this rush. Well, it could have been a rush by eLevate until they're counter-smoked, and now it looks like they might back off. But they got all 5 staged up at B, and I think they're going to wait this out and make a move here, Dust.
Yeah, they've actually swapped some personnel over at C9 as well. They've actually moved Stunna over to the B side, and they've brought kind of Shroud into a different area here, just kind of patrolling at mid. So they're kind of trying to change things up and adapt, but it's a broken buy for them. They're on 4 from m3ss, so it's not really the best buy here, but they're going to try to make it work anyway. Roke and Elise actually making their way into checkers. There is one player in the back and in the vents here. They're doing a bit of a crossfire, but not able to get the better of it. They only get one. And Shroud now going to have to try to make a play from heaven. He does actually get the bomb down, but Rush able to grab it back. Now he's going to be able to get into the site and make the plant. But there's some low health players here for eLevate. This is a 3v3 that C9 can actually win.
Yeah, it's extremely winnable. It's going to have to come off of patient play. Shroud picks up that headshot onto Roka, and Rush down to 9 HP. It's going to be really up to Storm, who goes down to m3ss. So now just Rush up against 3. With an AK and a Dream, 9 HP goes down to m3ss. So they'll get the defuse, and Cloud9 answers right back to tie this game up. We've got ourselves a thriller.
Yeah, I can't help but say that eLevate's just kind of, I wouldn't say choking, but they're not really capitalizing on the situations they set up for themselves. I mean, they've been able to kind of, keep Cloud9's economy in a really low state for the majority of this half, which is like a plus for them. They've actually won the majority of the entries that they've taken. I mean, I've seen countless times where they've been able to pick up 2 and only lose 1, so they've always kind of gotten the early man advantage in most of these situations. Like, I mean, think about when C9 played aggressive at mid, eLevate caught them, had the man advantage. There, at B, they had the man advantage, but for whatever reason, in that post plant, or right before the plant, they just somehow... for there, they over-peaked Shroud at Heaven a little bit too much in the post-plant, and they got caught for it. So that's really kind of been their downfall. It's just kind of over-peaking post-plant, I feel like. And here, C9 will get the early good start. Elise trying to minimize it as best as he can, though, but it's looking real good for C9 this round.
Yeah, it was a nice hold in mid as eLevate tried to take mid control. I mean, they did ultimately get it, but at a huge price. It's down to just Elise, who's in mid. Meanwhile, Roka trying to work. Looks from Squeaky. He's made his way into the site, but the bomb is down, and A-Main, he's up against 4 CTs. He picks up 1 and a second on Sean Garrett. Roka doing damage. Can't find Stunna, though. At Toxic, the headshot rings true, and Cloud9 is up 1.
Yeah, that's a good try from Roka there to try to salvage the round. He actually made a smart play by not shooting at that guy that walked by high, which allowed him to kind of creep up on 2 guys by CT, and he almost made a clutch out of it. But like I said, C9, once they felt the heat, they've really been able to kind of collect themselves and hold off eLevate. They may have conceded the first 5 rounds, but since then they've won 3 of the last 5, so they've been able to like I said, kind of stave off eLevate here, and now they force eLevate onto a save, so that means they're going to be able to extend their lead to 14-12 probably pretty easily. I mean, they're up against just 4 Glocks and a 250, so very unlikely eLevate's going to be able to make something happen here, but it's really going to be this next round that's going to be key. It's either C9, match point, or eLevate working on trying to tie this thing up again.
I think this might be the first time we've seen eLevate save this second half, which is couldn't have come at a better time for Cloud9 as the massacre is out over at A, as it's Shroud and Nothing combining to drop 2 apiece and quickly clean that one up as they're 1 away from the match point.
Yeah, so I mean, eLevate's going to have to buy up what they can here. I mean, they're going to be able to get AK armor and nades, but they haven't had an op a single time really on the T side. I'm not sure if that's because they don't really want one or what. I know XP3 has been known to tote the op around and do pretty well with it, but They do have full AKs across the board, full nades, so this is, I mean, a full gun round for them. This should be, you know, just as easy for them as all the other gun rounds they've played, so we'll just have to see if they can bring it back or if C9's adjustments have kind of worked.
Yeah, thus far, they seem to have stonewalled eLevate in the past few rounds. The Storm in the boost spot goes down to nothing as the bomb is staged up in mid, but Liege coming up with 2 huge frags at the vents position. He's going to drop m3ss as they brought it to a 4-on-2, and they've got full control of the B side as the 2 remaining CTs are at A, and it looks like they actually might just back off and save.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, C9 got the opening pick once again to start off the round, but then a Liege over the smoke, able to catch 2 for himself. Then Roka goes into B in a 1-on-1 and against Sean, wins that duel, and then that's all she wrote. So Cloud9 just kind of falling apart there a bit, especially at mid. Elise just shouldn't have really been able to get those 2 frags like that. So
yeah, we kind of mentioned how Elise was on the rise because he started really slow in the first half.
Oh yeah, he was.
I mean, I think he had an offer going at one point, and then for maybe 3 or 4 rounds, he just was stuck at like 2 or 3 frags. Then he broke it open, had those 2 3K rounds in a row, continued to consistently frag, and he's coming up with some huge rounds here in the second half.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of an interesting character. Like I said, he rose from obscurity, only 17 years old. No real previous Counter-Strike experience in 1.6 or Source that I'm aware of. Only played a little bit of semi-pro CSGO before stepping into this eLevate team, but caught a lot of recognition because of the, you know, how well he was doing in some of the semi-pro leagues and playing in 10-mans and stuff like that. Actually, another really fun fact about Elise, if you didn't know this, is that he actually has the highest sensitivity I know of any player in the game.
Even higher than
this
Hiko?
level. No, yes, even higher than JDM. So I'll give you an example. He actually plays at 1800 DPI, but I know most people play at 400 DPI, so I'll just tell you what his sins would be at 400 DPI. So at 400 DPI, most pros probably play between 2 and 3 sins, right?
Yep.
A big exception would be like Hika, who plays near 4, same with Forrest. And then you have like JDM and NA, who plays at around 6. Well, Elise's sensitivity, if you calculated it at 400 DPI, it's actually 10 in game.
Wow.
Like he plays at 1800 DPI at 2 sins or something like that. So that's equivalent to 400 DPI at 10 in game. So yeah, he's insane.
As meanwhile, we've got an execute over at the A site. Trying to come through the smokes is Roka, but he's not able to do so. The patience pays off for Cloud9 as m3ss picks up the frag with a little bit of help for Sean Garris. But XP3, a quick peek on the Shroud, finds the headshot, and the second one on to Stunna as Rush is able to pick up Sean Garris. So they're actually going to reverse field to B, where they've gotten into the site and planted cleanly. So now nothing is going to have to wait for the cavalry to show up if they're going to try this retake.
Able to do a heavy amount of damage to Rush here. Angling around, does finally find the kill, so he's got it into the 2 versus 2, but XP3's on the flank here. Nothing's got to worry about that, as he is going to possibly get caught kind of in the side for free here from XP3. Trying to work into the side, gets caught by Storm, and now it's all up to m3ss. And he's got to wait out a smoke inside the vents, and eventually he's just going to realize that there's no time left. He's going to have to back off with this M4, and eLevate have been able to tie this game back up at 14-all. And if you look over at the C9 side, there's really not a whole lot of money there, and they're only on a 2-loss bonus. So, I mean, they're either going to have to, you know, drop some FAMASs and stuff like that, which I'm sure they will. They have to, you know, stop.
Yeah, they're going for the win here. They don't want to go to OT.
Yeah, exactly, but it's still not going to be the best buy ever. I mean, there's only going to be maybe 2 guys with M4s. Everybody else is going to be on FAMAS or upgrade pistol and armor. So it's not really going to be the best. And see, the problem with this is because they're doing this, now next round it's going to be another similar broken buy type situation.
So unless they have a convincing round win here, you're right. If they lose, they're on the save for the win. And eLevate is looking to do the unthinkable after going down, giving up 10 rounds on T side in the first half. I mean, now they're on the cusp of potentially winning this game. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be quite as safe for C9 if they lose this round, but it will be another poor type buy like this where it's not like a full complete buy. So
I mean, obviously they're going to buy whatever they can because they're for the loss.
But it's still not going to be a healthy one is the point. Same kind of goes for eLevate, though. If they somehow drop this round, they have 3 guys pretty low on money, so they would have kind of they wouldn't be able to have like all the luxuries of AK, full armor, full grenades. Like they'd have to sacrifice something. So it's really kind of a key round here, of course, to try to get to that match point. As looks like we are going to see eLevate kind of gathering up over here towards the A side. They're setting up for these like set smokes at A side, outside the A site, right here about outside the Squeaky Hall. I'm not sure they're going to execute with these or not. It looks like they are. They're all gathering up in A lobby to execute, but there's 2 guys here and already 1 rotating truck, so they kind of telegraphed this A-tick. They might get caught for it.
Yeah, in good position is Stunna. Oh, comes over the top, actually gets caught, reloaded. Stunna. Oh, that's a mistake, friend. As Shroud runs out of ammo and switches to his pistol before going down to Storm. So now it's a 3-on-3. The bomb trying to go down as Sean Garrett swoops in to contest, but gets taken out. So here we have Storm, XP3, and Roko trying to hold off just one. It's going to be nothing. He's got a FAMAS. And he's going to go down to XP3, so eLevate one away from the match victory. And again, Cloud9 just going to be able to cobble together whatever they can. Oh, wow, they are really in dire straits.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't going to be a pretty buy if they lost that round. They may actually wind up conceding this game 16-14, so that's going to be tough for them. But honestly, I mean, that round really boiled down to Stunna getting caught at A basically for free. Shroud came up big with a couple of frags to kind of get it back to an even playing field, but what was key in that 3 versus 3 was Sean tried to make kind of a hero play by himself to prevent the bomb plant. There's no real need to do that. The bomb plant isn't really a factor in that round. I mean, it's not as if, I guess the clock
especially
was
in the fact
low.
that you were a 3-on-3, and then when you go in, that's immediately the man advantage.
Yeah, because nothing was way out of reach to try to help out. So, I mean, they really needed to wait on nothing and actually try to do a coordinated 3-on-3 retake instead of trying to make a hero play, which Sean went for and missed. But we'll see if Cloud9 can somehow still salvage around here, as they've been able to keep it even up until just now with XP3 getting that kill. And so now it's just going to be actually all up to Sean Garrett here, just to CZ, and he'll get caught, and that's it, 16-14, and I mean, what a game, man. I mean, everything looked great in the first half for C9. They're up 10-5, so you really can't say much about C9's T side on why they lost. They actually played T side perfectly fine, but on the CT side, they had a rough time making adjustments. I mean, XP3 and company over there at eLevate were executing some great strats of their own over on the A-bomb site. They actually had some good B takes at well. They always seem to get the early picks and get that early man advantage. In a couple of cases, C9 were able to kind of override that with, you know, a little bit of over-peaking from eLevate and post-plants where they were able to kind of punish them for that. But once eLevate kind of tightened up, played a little bit more disciplined in their post-plants and didn't give up early peaks like that, they were able to close it out. And I think it really did boil down to, you know, a couple of times where they did catch Stunna here and there out of sight on his own and exploited that. Or it was kind of C9 messing up some retakes. I mean, look at that key round there that allowed eLevate to get to 15-14 was Sean trying to make a hero play by himself to prevent a bomb plant. And there's no real need to do that at that point in time because, you know, economy doesn't really matter a whole lot at that point. You know, getting the bomb plant for them, yeah, that gives them an extra few $100, but it wasn't like they weren't going to be able to buy next round anyway. So there's no economic reason why you try to prevent the bomb plant there. Should have just waited for his team for a more coordinated 3-on-3 retake. That was like a key round there. It was actually that one. That was the one that kind of lost them the game. You could probably point to some other reasons why they gave up a bunch of rounds on CT side. Like I said, mostly, you know, losing the early round. You know, letting eLevate get the entries. I don't know, though. I mean, you could pick that one apart all you want, but the bottom line was it was a very close game. It came down to the last couple of rounds, and eLevate just came up a little bit ahead.
Yeah, so kind of, I don't want to say